Yo! What's up? That was loud. That was probably really loud. Let's go. I'm just going to hang out. Got about 45 minutes before I'm going to finalize, last half hour, finalize some of my MLB lineups. Huge slate tonight. 15-game MLB slate. Just hanging out. Really Q&A. We can bullshit. We can kind of try and figure out where we're optimizing. I've been playing around a little bit earlier today. Now that we've gotten some news in terms of injuries. No Looney, no KD. Seems like Clay is going to play. Not sure how much he's going to play, but seems like Clay will be playing in this game. And then that's really it. That's really all that we need to know. I think there's another news injury that we had, but it's not that impactful, I would say. So, yeah, that's it. I'll let people hop in. I got this little pop-out chat, so once somebody is actually on that chat, I'll know that this YouTube is up and running and working good. So hop in the chat. There we go, says Nicholas. Driving to Mississippi to get my picks. I live in Bama, which doesn't allow DK. Damn, you're going to the border? You're going to go enter the border right now? What's going on, Angie? Come, Sal. You come in when I'm leaving. God watch from the phone. That's fine. Watch from the phone. I'm sorry about that. But nice. Glad to have everybody in here. What's going on, Anthony White? Yeah, just going to chill. Just going to chill for like 45 minutes. So you got to drive to the border, Nick. So you're going to enter your lineups now. Can you at least edit them then? So like once you enter them, can you edit them back home? Or no? Because that would be a hassle if you're living decently far. But hey, I respect the grind. So yeah. What's up, Sal? So Clay is a player. Should I sit out game 3? Should you sit out or is he going to sit out? You should play. You might as well play. There's a decent prize pool going up, and we've been seeing that it's fine to build unique lineups. Clay seems to be like he's going to play. He said, I would be shocked if I'm not out there. The only Warriors worth rostering are Cousins and Iguodala, I would think. Myself, probably stay away from Curry and Draymond. I think I'm staying away from Curry as of right now. Maybe not so much in the utility spot. I think you can still get to him. I'm staying away from Curry as of right now, but Draymond I think you can still get to in the utility spot. Cousins a viable captain option, definitely. Cousins is definitely a viable captain option, and I can go to these projections. I have Cousins, and I feel pretty good about Cousins, actually. I have Cousins projecting and popping really right now for around 39 fantasy points if you put him in for 32 minutes. Now, that might be a little bit high, but with Looney being out, I kind of juiced him up an extra 2 minutes. I thought he was going to play 30 in the last one, and he would have if he didn't get in foul trouble early, and I think he goes up to 32 minutes. So, yeah, or around there. So I think Cousins is in a very viable play, albeit a tough matchup still, but I think he's very viable. And Clay for right now, and the question on Clay would be that, how does your strategy change on FanDuel tonight, says Mike. Mike, are you asking about baseball tonight then? Not positive. I don't really know any of the FanDuel prices for anything for the most part. I reserve and then I can edit picks when I'm home. Nice hour drive there and back. That's not bad. So at least you can edit at home. I mean, it's worse than being able to do it from your home like I can, but hey, it's better than not being able to do it at all. Do you like Cousins? Cousins is my favorite captain. I'll actually be shocked if he isn't at 30% there. 30% in the captain spot. He could approach that for sure. We haven't even seen that, I don't think, out of the most popular captains yet. We've seen high 20s because it's just so difficult to really get a guy that popular. But I think after his last game, after the hype around him, and his price point is still really good. Do I like him in the captain spot? Yes. I have not been building him into my captain spots right now. Ryan Jeffers says, who's your top 2 captains? I'm not positive yet. There's a lot of guys that I'm liking. I can kind of tell you those. It's the same as what this happened on the video earlier. I think right now I'm focusing on this Marc Gasol starting at 6,600. Not him in the captain, but this range of Marc Gasol's price point up. So actually, let me filter this by price so that I can look at it a little bit better by price and not by points. So I know where I'm looking at price points. So I'm looking at right now Marc Gasol. You can convince me Fred VanVleet, but I don't think they have the 40-point upside there that I think you need in this captain spot. So Marc Gasol. In the range of captains that I'm interested in, it'd be Marc Gasol, DeMarcus Cousins, and Kyle Lowry. That range of 3 players is extremely interesting to me. Now, who do I like the most out of there? I'm not positive yet. I have, as of right now, DeMarcus Cousins projected for the most points, but I'm not sure if that ends up being where I go. I do like Kyle Lowry a ton. I very much like Kyle Lowry coming up, and as of right now, he would be, I would say, probably a top 2 or 3 captain option of mine. $9,400 Siakam is in play. So if I had to pick from a range of 5 captains right now, and I guess we can go more so towards 4. It would probably be DeMarcus Cousins, Lowry, Siakam, and Draymond Green for me in terms of my 4 captains that I'm going to be going for, I guess you can say. Draymond's price probably leans me away from him, so it comes down to Siakam, Lowry, Cousins early on, and then it would be Gasol 4th. I don't really want to float anywhere below there because I don't think Fred VanVleet and Andre Iguodala have that 40-plus point upside. And if I like Kyle Lowry a lot, well, the leverage there is that I think Lowry doesn't get in foul trouble. Somebody try to tell me that they're going to bet me that Kyle Lowry only plays 29 minutes because they're going to project in foul trouble. So something that doesn't happen often, although I understand that Lowry has been super aggressive lately. Something that does not happen often, foul trouble, you're going to project it for the extreme of 10 minutes being in foul trouble. So that's pretty crazy. But Fred VanVleet, if I think Kyle Lowry, and I like him a lot, I have him projected for 37. He grades out very well if he just gets his 40 minutes and does not get in some sort of foul trouble like he has in the first 2 games. If I'm going to be playing a lot of him, it makes it really hard for me to go into that saying, oh, well, Fred VanVleet I also like a ton. I think both of them can play fine. They play alongside each other a decent amount, but it's just really hard for me to get to a Fred VanVleet captain lineup. So, yeah, I'm not going below 6,600 digging for a captain, and I'm probably not going above the 10K range, to be completely honest. So it really narrows down that range. Clay is just a little bit too sketchy for me. So, yeah, I don't know who my captain is yet. That's something that I have a whole day to decide. It would be Lowry, Cousins, Gasol, and Siakam really for me to decide from. We got a lot of questions coming in. How's everybody doing? I don't really know how many people are watching this, so if people throw me updates, let me know. Just because I don't have I have this little pop-up chat. You can pop out the chat. I never knew that. You probably pop it back in. What do we got here? How does your strategy change your FanDuel? Okay, so you don't play basketball on FanDuel. Seems easier, says Mike. Oh, no. FanDuel for Showdown Slate is nowhere near easier, Mike. You have to rank 3 different positions at the top. That's much worse than just ranking 1 captain, right? Ranking 3 guys and getting them in the right spots, it's much worse. FanDuel, you might say, is easier in the regular season because you only have to pick specific players. That gives you less of an edge. And also, FanDuel doesn't allow late swap. So once the lineups lock, if you have a guy in an 8, 9 o'clock game later in the day and he's ruled out because there hasn't been news yet, well, now all your lineups are stunk. Or stink. And that's terrible. Cousins is my favorite captain. I'll actually be shocked. Okay, we got there. I've been kind of looking at Siakam. I think he's fine too. I think DK is easier. Cousins definitely would be the highest owned captain. DK easier compared to FanDuel. They both have their own differences. I really don't know which one is actually easier. It's more structured on FanDuel for regular season basketball in terms of you just need 2 of this position, 2 of this position. So when you're making strong or when you're making specific types of stands, like I'm going to play this guy and not play this 40% owned power forward tonight, it's different, but FanDuel is just terrible. I mean, you have to choose between garbage small forwards over there and 2 of them on most slates. That means take Marc Gasol as captain. Maybe it does. I don't know. In terms of getting complete leverage on if you're talking about the DeMarcus Cousins high captain spot, getting leverage with a guy like Marc Gasol. But Marc Gasol, it doesn't mean much. Like, yeah, sure, if Cousins is going to get 32 minutes or so, it probably means Gasol is out there for more. I definitely agree with that. And you can also make the argument that Ibaka would be out there for a decent amount more because Cousins does float around the perimeter, set screens at the top a decent amount. So I don't think it means better for Marc Gasol there in terms of leverage because defensive points, sure, you get points for blocks and steals, but nothing in terms of playing just good defense and enforcing a smaller percentage on a guy and if you're trying to get leverage off of DeMarcus Cousins playing bad. Quinn Cook and McKinney sleepers if Clay is out. I would go more so towards Quinn Cook and Sean Livingston. I probably wouldn't touch McKinney, but I don't think Clay's going to be out. I think Clay will be limited, and honestly, I have no idea how to project a limited Clay Thompson. But right now, he said I would be shocked if I'm not out there or something like that in the press conference. He's like, you'd be surprised if you don't see me out there. So he pretty much said he's playing. So that's what I'm going to go off of. Kerr usually lets his guys have the final say, and it seems like that is going to be his final say. If there was something that came up really bad in that MRI that we're not knowing about, he would have said he wouldn't have been that optimistic, right? So I think he's fine, and I think I'm going to still project him for 40 minutes because I don't know what else to do there. If you want to take the risk and say, oh, Clay's only going to play 30 in this game, well, that probably bumps up your Quinn Cooks a decent amount and also a little bit of your Sean Livingstons. Yo, what's good, my people, says Domingo. What's going on? Locking Dre, fading Lowry. That's fair. I don't think you're getting any type of leverage by locking Draymond or fading Lowry, but again, you don't need leverage in a one-player situation. You just need to be different somewhere in your lineup. If no Clay, I'm taking Danny Green as captain. I think that's extremely unlikely to actually pay off. You don't want to be taking players as your captain, and I don't want to leverage you away. It's your money. You can do what you want. But you just don't want to be taking players at captain that's literal ceiling is 30 fantasy points. Like, I'm not even kidding you. 35 fantasy points is Danny Green's ceiling. That's the highest that he can get. If he gets you that 35, he's probably not going to do you any good in your captain spot, most likely, because somebody else likely goes off. But again, it could happen. But that's if he gets his ceiling, right? A lot of things have to happen for Danny Green to hit his ceiling, and I just don't see that happening personally. Even if he gets you 28 fantasy points, that's not enough in the captain spot. So you're setting yourself up really to not have a way to really generate more points. Having Danny Green's 28 points in the utility spot and having maybe a Pascal Siakam 45-point game or something like that, well, that's much, much better. Lowry and Gasol are on my crap list. Yeah, I'm sure they are. They're on everybody's crap list, and that's why I think that there's a lot of leverage in them. Bounce back time when I fade them, so make sure you take all the advantage. Yeah. Sup, Sal? 33 watching, 34. Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, I figure not many people. People are off of work. I have to get some of these MLB lineups. I'm running a decent amount tonight. There's some really good lineups out there, or some contests, and I think that for the first time in a while, well, not in a while, but just a good amount. There is a qualifier out there, which is interesting. Might jump in that. Yeah, so I have to get off probably in about 20 minutes or so, but I'll just chill. Lowry sleeper, I'm high on him. Yeah, I think Lowry's a sleeper. I think that now in this little groupthink bubble that we have right here, he seems to be popular. Some people not, but I think more so popular. The price point is just too good, and he's priced at a point where they think that, or at the production that he's been having. Look, if he plays 40 minutes, I've been projected for 37 fantasy points. He should play 40 minutes more times than not if he stays out of foul trouble. He's not getting less minutes for any other reason other than the fact that he's in foul trouble. He's not guarding Steph Curry. Somebody tried to tell me today that, oh, Kyle Lowry's going to stay in foul trouble because he's guarding Steph Curry. No, he's not. Kyle Lowry's not guarding Steph Curry. It's Fred VanVleet, and you might say, oh, that's because he was in foul trouble. No, Fred VanVleet's been on the court with Kyle Lowry a good chunk of the time. It's Fred VanVleet, and then it's Danny Green second, and then it's Lowry. So Lowry's not guarding Steph Curry if people think that. Like, okay, that doesn't mean he's not guarding him on any possessions, but he's guarding him 22 possessions in the first two games, compared to 71 for Fred VanVleet and 34 for Danny Green. So that's a big difference. Kyle Lowry's been spread out across the ball, really, and for the most part, he's been guarding Andre Iguodala, so I'm not too worried about that. Thanks for the insights, Alice. No problem, man. Too bold to throw Lowry in the captain and fade Steph and Clay. A Clay fade isn't shocking to me, and a Steph fade really isn't either. So yeah, I don't think that's too bold, Matthew. I think that it's definitely viable to have Lowry captain and no Steph or Clay in your lineup. You probably then need to get your Kawhi Leonard, your Draymond Greens, and your Boogie Cousins and try and make up those Warriors points elsewhere. I'm going Draymond Spartan Pride. There you go. MSU, eh? How long has Sal been streaming, says Yay Biz? I've probably been streaming for like, I don't know. I usually can see when I'm on this thing right here. I can tell you right now, probably like 15 minutes, not even. 12 minutes, and there's 50 of you in here. What's going on, gang? I like Cousins on captain, says Dave. Yeah, I think Cousins is he's one of the 4 or 5 guys that I'm trying to narrow down right now. Realistically, probably 4 guys that I'm trying to narrow down right now in my captain spot. I don't know if I should play Clay or not. I'm probably going to lean away. But if people are if there's word that ownership's going to be extremely low, maybe I go to him. But he just messed up his hamstring. I don't know if he fully pulled it or what, but that's probably one of the most important things, an ankle, hamstring, right, that you need when you're playing basketball. Fading Raptors in the captain spot, possible blowout in Oracle. I mean, there's 6-point favorites, I believe, right? Let's look. 6-point favorites is Golden State. Yeah, I think there's definitely... I agree with that. I don't usually try and speculate the blowouts and things like that, but there's definitely a possible blowout. If it was to go one way, it would go the Warriors' side. You still don't have KD, though. Looney's now out, so there's a little bit less depth there. Looney wasn't providing too much on the offensive side, but some on the defensive side. The blowout, I don't really know if there will be a blowout coming. Look, I understand that they blew that game in the last game. The Raptors, for the most part, they blew it. Clay playing injured. There's a lot of things that are going to get overreacted to. I still think the Warriors win in 6. Boogie Cousins coming back should not be overreacted to. I think it's being underreported how big that is for this Warriors team. But blowout, sure, I could see it happening. If anywhere, it would happen in this game, most likely. But let's not kid ourselves. The Raptors dominated game 1, and they dominated for, 3 quarters, or I guess a half, until the Warriors went on an 18-0 run. And that was really the difference in game 3, was an 18-0 run, for the most part. Fleet or Iguodala? So VanVleet or Iguodala, that's a good question. I'm going to side with, in my projections, I'm going to side with Fred VanVleet. I think Fred VanVleet's staying on that court. They want him on Steph Curry. They think he's a better matchup than Lowry for whatever reason right now. I'm going to go with Fred VanVleet by about 4 or 5 fantasy points. I think I have him for more minutes than Andre Iguodala as well. If Klay Thompson is out, Iggy should see a bump in minutes, though. Raptors get blown out, question mark. Not sure. Sal, took your advice on baseball last night. Placed second in a $3 tournament and won $150. Thanks, Dan. What specific advice did you take? Probably had to be pitcher related. Everybody's getting on my case right now about not showing any hitter data. Right now is like when I'm about to finalize my hitting data. So you can understand why I don't give it in the beginning of the day, because we're literally still getting lineups for tonight. Like we're still getting lineups right now for the games tonight. 10 minutes ago we get the Mariners lineup. Like how can I possibly give any hitter data when I don't know what the lineups are? Now I understand it's baseball. Majority of the guys in that lineup will be in there the next day, but it's not always like that. And it's not also if they're playing or not, it's where they're batting. I'm not playing 8, 9 hitters, probably not even 7 hitters for the most part. I want that top of the order in all the stacks that I play. I can tell you stacks information and things like that, but people want specific bats, and it would be a live stream before lock. And if Awesome was going to be doing live streams before lock for baseball's not as popular as basketball, so in terms of DFS, not anywhere close. there's just not as much viewership around, so I'd rather cover more in-depth this showdown slate where there's much more money to first on a live stream than a baseball slate where like 10% of the amount of people are actually interested in watching it. And all those people are going to go to the number one ranked player in the world's broadcast, as you should. Like, you should be going there and watching that. So, yeah. Sorry, just joined. Boogie in the captain spot slots. Yeah, what's going on, GT? No problem. I think it's very viable. I have Boogie projected for 39 fantasy points. That's if with the disclaimer that I have him at 32 minutes, which might be a little bit bullish, but I feel good about that. I think he's a viable captain. He's one of my 3 favorite captains right now. And that's not me trying to be deceptive and say, oh, I don't know who my captain is, and just say, like, I'm hiding that number. Right now, my favorite captain options would probably be Boogie, Kyle Lowry, and most likely Pascal Siakam. I like Draymond Green as well in that captain spot. The man's a walking triple-double. I think Boogie being out there more is going to continue to limit that triple-double upside, both from an assist. Yes, Boogie is a good passing center, both from an assist and a rebounding standpoint. And I have to see what the pricing is. If I can get to Draymond in the captain spot, which probably means Clay is out and we get news on that, and I like more Quinn Cook or Sean Livingston, then I probably favor Draymond. But I'm suspecting I don't get there, and I'm suspecting that I lean on Lowry and Cousins captain lineups more so than not. If I can afford Siakam and feel good about the line, I might go back to that. Marc Gasol would then be a distant fourth, I guess you can say. Fading Fred Van, says Anthony Valdez. I think that's fine. I imagine you're playing like one lineup or just a handful of lineups, so it's not like you're playing 50 and not having any Fred VanVleet. I think that 6,200 is getting to a price point where it is a little bit too expensive for him, but he's one of the guys that we're not really concerned about his minutes, right? Outside of all the starters, lots of guys have shaky minutes, right? Ibaka, we don't know. Even Danny Green, to some extent, has decently shaky minutes. They can go to 32 or they can go to 24, right? They can even go lower, like last series, although I think they need him a little bit more for defense. But if you're not starting, you have somewhat of shaky minutes, except for Fred VanVleet. I think his minutes are locked in around 30 plus, and at 6,200, 30 minutes out of a guy who is good on the offensive side. I think that's fine. But again, it's fade where it's fine to fade it if you don't want it. He's not a lock for sure. I'm very interested in Quinn Cook, though. Quinn Cook's only of interest to me if Klay Thompson is out or limited, and I don't know if we get that news. The Warriors are usually very good in letting us know if a player is going to be limited at all. So at least in the regular season, maybe not in the postseason with this type of leverage on the line in terms of the NBA Finals in a pivotal Game 3. So I have no interest in Quinn Cook. I mean, he got an extra. He played the last 15 out of 16 minutes in that last game because Klay Thompson went down. So don't look at that and say, oh, Quinn Cook played 20 plus minutes. He's going to do it again. No, I have Quinn Cook right now projected for 10 minutes. You want to know what you get out of Quinn Cook at 10 minutes? 7 fantasy points. That's not me just making up a random number. Like I said earlier, that is me giving you his actual minutes on the entire year when he has a matchup like this. Like, this is the Toronto Raptors, one of the best defenses he will face. He's a great player. I'm excited. If Klay Thompson leaves this Warriors team, Quinn Cook probably steps in, and he's an exciting player. Nowhere near as good as Klay Thompson. At least, probably won't ever be shooting that way. But Quinn Cook, 10 minutes, I don't like that at all. I'm not trying to play any of these dusty players at the bottom outside of maybe an Andrew Bogut. I think Andrew Bogut can be potentially interesting here. Just got in. I see DMC at captain. Who are your other 3 potential captains, says Mark. Mark, I like DMC. I like Cousins at captain, and this is no order. I don't know yet. Like, I haven't built a lineup, I'll be honest with you. I was tinkering earlier for about 5 minutes, just seeing the prices and what can fit if you just do quick things. But the guys that I like, it is probably Cousins and Lowry are up there right now for the way that I think I'm going to start my lineups. And then Siakam and Marc Gasol are other guys that I'm going to factor into a captain spot. Draymond Green is somebody who I would probably put in that tier with Lowry and Cousins as a captain. But I just don't think I get to it. I can finally take Kevin Durant out now that he's out of this game. So there's that. That's easy. There's another guy down. But Draymond is somebody that I do like in the captain spot. It's just a matter of actually fitting players in around him. Kawhi, I think you're going to have too many bad lineups. We saw Kawhi go for 60 plus in the last game, and he still wasn't needed in the captain spot because there's just that bad of value. So I don't want Kawhi. I don't want Steph Curry, and I might not play Steph Curry at all, which then would probably open up a Draymond captain spot for me, give or take. We'll have to see. But I talked in depth about the Steph Curry concerns. This is a one-game sample. I understand that. So his points per minute in the regular season and playoffs with KD off and Boogie on, and it's more so regular season, right? We've had like one game with that for Boogie in the playoffs. But it's a really big split. With KD and Boogie off, he's a 1.57 fantasy point per minute guy. With KD off and Boogie on, it's a 1.04. With both of them on, it's a 1.29. So he gets hit dramatically when KD's off and Boogie is on the court. That's because Boogie just steals so much usage. Steph will still get his shots. Boogie will take a few more threes during the game. Steph will steal some of his shots or takes his shots still, but Boogie's going to pick up assists. Steph's going to get way less rebounds when you push Draymond and Boogie both down there. And I think that's what we saw a little bit in the last game. So I'm probably not on Steph too much on the high end, and Draymond is where I start to consider captains. I predict Ibaka 14, 8, and 2 blocks. That's fine. Just joined in. Why no Curry for captain spot going back home? Just wondering, says Brandon Lawson. That's it. That's perfect. I didn't even see your question, but that's it. The captain spot when you're playing these expensive guys leads you to have terrible lineups. So that's one, lineup construction. Look, people are trying to say who is the right play, who is the right play. That's important, but not nearly as important. That's not the most important thing here. It's building a quality lineup, right? Everything together that can give you upside and maximize your upside. It's not just on a showdown slate. That's all the time. People are trying to say, who do I think is going to hit this home run today? No, you should be factoring ownership, and you should be factoring in people's perceptions, because Pascal Siakam is the only reason that people won $1 million. Literally, somebody won $1 million, or a lot of people won money in that first game. Boogie Cousins, the same thing in the second game, because they were underappreciated, lower owned, 3% in the captain spot for both of them, around 20% in just playing in general in the utility spot. They were under-owned, and if things go wrong, or things don't go as people expect, and they play well, better than people expect them to, it's going to be complete leverage. That's how you win tournaments. There's no other way to really get leverage in a showdown slate other than leaving money and just playing underappreciated players. So I would say right now, Steph Curry is just somebody I don't have interest in. It's a one-game sample. It can go to shit, but captain spot, he's not going to leave me a lot of ways to get different. One, he's not going to leave me a lot of ways to maximize my upside with shitty players below him. And I think that his production overall is not priced. With Boogie on the court, he is priced way too high at 11.6. Boogie's probably going to become an 8K plus player in a very quick, maybe by next game, and that should drive Steph to the low 11 and probably 10K range in my opinion. Interested in Ibaka at Danny Low ownership, I would assume. At Danny or both? I think Ibaka's fine too. Playing him over Danny Green, I think I still prefer Danny Green there. He'll get doubled all game if Klay doesn't play. Who will get doubled? If you can put Curry at captain, do so, and unlike the rest of your lineup. Sal, you really think Steph will play 40 minutes fresh off a hamstring? No, I'm just pushing this in right now. I'm going to see by tomorrow and probably switch that, but I don't know what to do. Do you know? Will he play 20? Will he play 30? So as of right now, if he seems very confident in playing and the MRI did not kind of sway anything in that, I'm not positive where to go. If I give him 35, either way, I'm not playing Klay Thompson, so it doesn't really matter for me. It matters, obviously, for the other people who are going to play. I think that bumps Sean Livingston a little bit. I don't think it bumps Quinn Cook enough, personally. What about OG, says Snipes? No interest in OG for me. Have him at 5 minutes. If you want to give him 10, still no interest. Even if you want to give him 15, I have no idea where you're pulling those minutes from, honestly. So fading Kawhi and Curry, interesting. No. I'm not fading Kawhi and Curry. I love Kawhi Leonard in this game. I'm not playing him in the captain spot. Steph Curry, I'm not playing in the captain spot. Might play in the utility, but most likely will not play him in the utility. Unless we get news. If Klay Thompson is out, this is a different story. Steph Curry becomes more interesting, for sure. Probably going to play Danny Green, but I hate this man. He just sits in the corner. Yeah, that's all he does. He sits in the corner. He'll sometimes drive to the basket, but very rarely. He has to hit 3 threes for you, and then maybe you have a good game. But he doesn't need to do much. The idea is that he's $3,600, and he can get you 18 fantasy points, and he's probably going to play enough minutes to get very close to that. Best play under 3K. Oh, that's disgusting. Best play under 3K. The most minutes, it's between Sean Livingston and Andrew Bogut, in my opinion, right now, and I don't even think anybody else is even in play down there. Best play under 3K. Yeah, I think that I would go, let's see. Sean Livingston and Andrew Bogut, both grayed out terrible. They're around 11 points for me, so I think I would go Sean Livingston because if there is this is really interesting because I could see Bogut getting 15 minutes off the bench, and that makes him a better play, in my opinion, as a center, especially going up against a second unit, probably more so Ibaka. Livingston does have the higher ceiling in terms of minutes. If Klay Thompson is injured, you could see Livingston pushing into the 20s. That's a really good question, below 3K. Between Livingston and Andrew Bogut, I think I go Livingston, but it's very scary. Who are your best 2 potential options under 5K? Okay, so guys under 5K right now that I like. That's easy for me. Serge Ibaka and Danny Green. I mean, I know they're the most expensive under 5K, but then you're getting into this range of Quinn Cook, Livingston. So Serge Ibaka and Danny Green. I have Danny Green for just under 20 points at 19.5. I have Serge Ibaka at 18 fantasy points. Kawhi seems like an interesting fade. You'd have to be on Steph, I would imagine, but maybe not. If not, you're going to leave a ton of salary left over. Yeah, I'm going to continue to ride out Kawhi, but I understand the idea in fading him for leverage, and I guess I'll probably be doing that with Steph Curry. So, yeah, I can't complain there. I just probably won't be doing it. I understand median projections are not always correct, but I just 42 minutes of Kawhi Leonard right now with a 40+% usage rate. Even in his worst games, when he scored 40 fantasy points in that game one, he was still needed to win it, I believe. And obviously that's because he has such high ownership, so it's going to be very hard for a guy who's 70% owned or whatever his goddamn ownership is to not be in a winning lineup, even if as long as he gets you around 40 fantasy points. Gasol or Fred VanVleet? Another good question. I probably lean Gasol there. Yeah, I lean Gasol, but that's really close. But based on the positionality, I'll lean Gasol, and he's starting. So I think Fred VanVleet's minutes are safe around 30, but I do lean Gasol there slightly. Definitely if you're talking captain. I feel like fading Curry and Kawhi. Bold. I wouldn't do it, but bold. I think I end up fading Curry, and I understand that he's going to go home and he could probably splash 10 threes here, and then I just lose my $25. I'm only going to enter one lineup in this thing. I don't really want to blow all of my bankroll on a showdown slate. But I'll probably end up fading Curry to take a stand somewhere. I do prefer Draymond to Curry today when you factor in price, $1,000 difference, and I don't have them that terribly different in terms of projections. How many lineups would you captain Lowry in? I'm only playing one lineup, so it would be 100%. Like, I'm not going out there and putting $250 into the showdown slate because I know how variant it is. I was doing that during the NFL season, and I was losing my ass. So basketball is even more variant. Yeah, I don't want that. Well, I would say basketball is less variant in terms of projections, but the amount of players that you actually have out there makes it a little bit less reliable, I guess you can say. I don't know how to phase that because realistically it's more projectable and you have less players, so you have less players to choose from. But with this captain spot, I think that on a slate like this, there's like 6 or 7 viable options. I guess the same could be said in football, so maybe it's not more variant. I take that back. The only thing with football is there's correlation. So there's ways like to kind of, there was a lot of lineups that ended up being the same in winning lineups in terms of factoring in blowouts, and this is something I was trying to look into towards the end of the year. Worked one night, placed pretty high, but nowhere near winning it. You kind of just take the team that's getting blown out, 2 of their wide receivers with the quarterback, put one of the wide receivers in the captain spot, take a wide receiver from the other team that was blowing the team out, and then take a kicker or something like that. And it was something that popped like out of the however many showdown slates, 50-something during the regular season. There was like a 3 or 4% of those lineups were winning with that type of format, which you really didn't see anywhere else, which is obviously small. Are you doing a live stream tomorrow, Sal? Yes, Christian G, I will be live. Great question. Tomorrow I'll be live 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on YouTube, and then 6:30 to 7 p.m. on Sportscaster. I think Sportscaster is like the first link in my description if you ever need to find it. Lowry captain, Boogie, Kawhi, Danny Ibaka, and might go with Dre. Lowry captain, Boogie, Kawhi, Danny Ibaka, and might go with Dre. That's a good lineup. Yeah. Lowry for captain and Siakam for utility. A good play together? I think so. Yeah, that's fine. Fade Draymond for Siakam, ? In this case, the only Golden State players I would have are Cousins at captain and Iggy. I think having 2 Golden State players is fine. I think having one of one team is just a little bit out there, especially in basketball where there's going to be 100 points. And if you're telling me that somebody on the other team that's going to see 30-plus minutes or even 25-plus is not going to be needed, I'd say that's a stretch. But having Cousins at captain and Iggy, you're fading Draymond for Siakam. If you're fading Steph, if you're fading Steph and Curry, I think that you're going to need Cousins, and I think then you probably need Draymond, honestly. But I think that's fine. Boogie captain again, ? He's one of my favorite 3 captains to choose from right now. Bogut a sleeper pick? I think Bogut is a sleeper pick. Look, Looney is out. He played 7 minutes in the second half. I don't know if they really give Bell any minutes. If they do, I have Bell projected for 4 minutes and Bogut's 12. You can very easily tell me that Bogut's going to play 15 here. And if that's the case, $2,200, he can go out there and he can score 8 fantasy points. Let's not kid ourselves. Andrew Bogut in this matchup there's no lock to do anything. He can go out there, he could score 10, and it's not needed. But he could also go out there and score 17, 18, and at $2,200, you could be damn well that that's needed. So I think Bogut is in play. He's definitely in my player pool. He's somebody that I'm going to try and incorporate into lineups. But I don't like the fact that this can be just Jordan Bell comes out and plays 8 minutes and Bogut plays 5, and you're just hating yourself going back home. So I might lean no, but I think it's very interesting. The minutes are as scary as they get because we really don't know what they do. We got like an 18-minute sample with Looney injured, and we did see Bogut for that, so it's good, but it really wasn't anything that was insane, 7 minutes, right? We saw no Jordan Bell that game, so it leads me to believe that Andrew Bogut is the primary backup. If you tell me Boogie plays 32 minutes, well, there's 16 center minutes to go around. Maybe Draymond picks up a few. I doubt it. So, yeah, Bogut should be in play, and I think he's sort of a sleeper, yeah. I'm playing 2 lineups, one Lowry and another with DeMarcus Cousins as the captain. I think that's fine. New to your live but daily viewer this season. Great projection, says Anthony. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, welcome to the live stream. What's going on, gang? Let's see. How many people are watching this thing now? I think I can check that quick. 61 of you in here. What's up with you people? One message per minute. Wild. Y'all are crazy. What time is it? 6:15. All right, I might bounce. I might work on these baseball lineups. Probably going to try and bink a 300-person qualifier and lose all my money. Cool Harmony. Sup, Sal, in the gang. Glad I'm able to catch your live stream on my off day. Strategy-wise, what's your process for cash games versus tournaments? Single entry versus multi-entry? I'd say there's not really any strategy for showdown for me. I only play tournaments. It's so variant that your cash, when you play cash, you're trying to eliminate variance so that you can build a bankroll there to take your shots in tournaments, right? Ideally, that's what you would like to do. Now, when you're playing a showdown slate, it's so variant that you're not going to be able to eliminate that with a cash game lineup. You can build a showdown cash safer lineup, use all your money, things like that. I do not advocate for cash in a showdown slate. Single entry versus multi-entry, I much prefer single entry. I much prefer smaller contests. I would rather you play in a 100-man lineup or a 100-man field for a smaller top prize of like $500 or whatever it might be, than you play these huge goddamn gigantic 50,000 person fields, because you're never going to win. Now, hopefully, somebody in the stream actually wins tomorrow. 2 or 3 people have tied for first that I know, not know personally, but as subscribers. So, but just saying you're never going to win. Those 3 people are the only 3 all season long that have reached out to me. It's a very slim chance, right? Will you do Pebble Beach breakdown, says Matthew Mills. So Pebble Beach, my friend, is my roommate, and one of my best friends actually works there. Golf, turf science, so I'm actually excited about that. Gonna get some inside info for everybody. But yeah, I'll do a Pebble Beach breakdown tomorrow morning. I was actually gonna do the golf spreadsheet will be up tomorrow morning. My database, if that's something that you're interested in, it's on Patreon. I don't know if I'm gonna do a video. I'm debating it for tomorrow. There's really no history. They only played here once 7 years ago. Scott Piercy won there. There's no history to go off of, so I'm really just going off of recent form. And for the most part, if you want that, just get the spreadsheet and you can kind of look through it yourself. I don't even know if I'm going to play golf this weekend. Sal, you have any interest in Excel file listing all possible captains for Basketball Showdown? What do you mean? H of X Sports. An Excel file listing of all possible captains for Basketball Showdown? I can tell you the ones that I think I'm going to be landing on in terms of being viable, both in salary, allowing you to get to a different type of build. It's Siakam, Lowry, DeMarcus Cousins, and Marc Gasol for me. Draymond Green would be pushing there as well, depending on if I fade Steph Curry. So those are the 5. Those are the five viable that I give you. I don't want Kawhi or Steph in my captain spot, because we saw Kawhi scored 60-plus fantasy points in the last game, and he wasn't needed. So the only way Kawhi will be needed in the captain spot is if most likely he scores 70-plus fantasy points, because there's just so many other good players on this slate. You have Marc Gasol, Lowry, and Cousins, who all have 40-point upside, and they're all below $8,000. So one of them probably pops for 40-plus fantasy points in this game. And if not, maybe Siakam does, right? Maybe Clay does again. It's just so hard for me to see Kawhi at that price being needed, because then you're forcing in Andrew Bogut, or you're forcing in Norman Powell, whose realistic upside on most nights is like 7 fantasy points for both of them. And that's not good. That's not getting you there. Okay, cool. Valuable info. Thanks, man. No problem. Cool Harmony. Do you feel like Clay will perform the same like last game? He's injured. He has a hamstring injury. That's not great. He seems confident he'll play. The MRI did not immediately show anything bad from what I'm processing from that. No idea how much he plays, but this is modern day medicine in a basketball game. I'm sure they can soup up this guy's leg if he goes out there. I'm keeping him at 40 right now. This is just from this morning before the reports came out. I haven't changed a single thing other than deleting Kevin Durant from this since he's out. I have no idea what his minutes are. I don't know right now. He says he's going to play. He's a game time decision. Maybe they get bumped down to 35 and you get 5 more minutes for Quinn Cook and Livingston or whatever it might be. But I don't know, honestly, right now. I really can't digest that a little bit. Fred Captain. I would not go Fred Captain, but I think he's on the verge of guys I would play. He's probably like my 6th or 7th captain option. It's just so hard for me to see Fred VanVleet getting anywhere near 40 fantasy points, which is the number that I'm trying to get out of a captain if it's not in this price range, right? Below $9,000, if I get 40 out of a guy, I feel confident about him being a good captain, at least enough to make me cash, potentially win. I don't think Fred can get to that number, and I like Kyle Lowry a ton. I like Kyle Lowry a lot for next game. He's projecting out at 37 points for me. I like him a very, very good amount. And if I do like him and I'm very high on Kyle Lowry, it doesn't make sense for me to put Fred VanVleet in the captain spot, because that probably limits Kyle Lowry's upside if Fred VanVleet has a ceiling game. I think Clay is going to suck next game, to be honest. I think I'm going to Fred VanVleet captain, Leonard, Cousins, Green, Gasol, and Ibaka. Again, same take on Fred VanVleet captain. And Clay, yeah, he's a shooter, so it's going to very much depend on shooting, which is something that is variant. A guy like him, it's less variant because he's such a good shooter. But yeah, I think it doesn't mix well for him to at least be a captain, and I'm probably not getting to Klay Thompson in this next game. DeMarcus Cousins captain, or who's your favorite captain? Yeah, you probably just got in here. I don't know yet who I'm playing a captain. I'm probably only going to play one lineup. The guys that I have interest in are DeMarcus Cousins, Kyle Lowry, Draymond Green, Siakam, and Fred VanVleet. More so, the most interest is coming for me at Kyle Lowry and DeMarcus Cousins. Draymond Green if I fade Steph Curry. Sally Boy, what's up? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, guys, I'm going to bounce. Which bench player gets the biggest boost with Looney being injured? Andrew Bogut, at least from the last game. It's Andrew Bogut. The pricing between Draymond and Pascal, who's more worth it? If you can afford Draymond, I would say Draymond right now. But I like both of them, so not positive on that. Throwing my MLB lineup together. Strasburg and Smeltzer, some KC bats, Padres bats, Cincy bats, and a couple one-offs. Sound good, question mark? I think you have to have a bigger stack there. You have too many bats from different teams. You need to have at least a 4-3-1, in my opinion. 4 guys from one team, 3 from another, 1 from another. 5 guys from one team, 3 from another. 5 guys from one team, and a bunch of one-offs. You doing a 2 KC, 2 Padres, 2 Cincy, and then 2 other guys, one-offs. You have no correlation there. If the Padres go off, if the Cincinnati Reds go off, if the Royals go off, if one of those teams goes off, you're going to be kicking yourself for not playing more guys from those games. So I think that's how you have to settle it down. It's just so hard to pick off 2-man stacks on a 15-game slate. One team's inevitably going to score 10 runs tonight. You kind of have to have that. Lowry with the 10, 10, and 10 next game. Damn, somebody just called the Lowry triple-double, Anthony? That's wild. These lives are live, bro. Good interaction with your fans. I'm a new sub, but definitely been liking the feedback. Sorry, I can't even read right now. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. You're a new sub. Nice to meet you. My name's Sal Vetri, but I appreciate it. Andrew McCutcheon will miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. That's sad. Sal, VanVleet is outplaying Lowry, and it's not that close, is it? I don't think he's out. I mean, he's had more opportunities, but he's not outplaying him. Like, VanVleet is not getting more minutes because he's playing better than Kyle Lowry. Let's not get that twisted. Kyle Lowry has been in foul trouble, played 36 minutes with a little bit of foul trouble. He should have played 40, and then he played, in that last game, he played 27-28 because of foul trouble. I think Kyle Lowry is playing well when he's out there. That last game was a disaster for Lowry, not going to be getting an assist in the first half. If you get 40 minutes out of Kyle Lowry, I feel really good about him going over 30 fantasy points. I feel decently well about him going over 35 fantasy points. In this 2 games, has he been outplaying him? I would say I can't count the last game because Lowry didn't see 35% of the amount of time he usually sees. So in game 1, Fred VanVleet played similar to Kyle Lowry. So I don't know if he's outplaying him. On the defensive side, maybe a little bit. Everyone liked the video, says Snipes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Everybody, if you can watch, who's watching this? I know I keep asking this, but 46 are left. What's going on? If you can go over right down below in the description of this, it says Sportscaster. I'm doing $20 PayPal. I'm going to announce the person if you subscribe to my Sportscaster channel. If you already have, just, I guess, let me know. I mean, I see all the names. That's nice about that. I can see all the names who are subscribing. They kind of get archived, so only about 8 people have done it today. I imagine as the video gets more views tomorrow in the live stream tomorrow, more people will. But yeah, for game 4, my first look, I'm going to announce the winner of a $20 PayPal. So all you got to do is literally follow me on Sportscaster. I subbed on Sportscaster since Andrew. I saw that. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. You're one of the people in this raffle. And if you don't have PayPal, then we can do Venmo or something. Or you can just get PayPal because literally it's free to do it. Yeah, Lowry on that prison ball mode. Yeah, he's just hacking at everything, right? His fouls, people tell me that it's on that Curry's making him fouling. He's not guarding Curry, one. He's not the primary defender of Curry right now. He's not even the second. But you saw the foul, the foul that he fouled out on. That's his dumb fouls. He's just swatting guys in the backcourt. He needs to kind of control himself. I think I subscribed on Sportscaster the other day, says Snipes. Sounds good. I'm so G. You're so G, Paul. What's going on, my man? Okay, I got to go. I got 38 minutes to get these lineups in. I got them for the most part down by pitchers. So thank you guys. Tomorrow, 5:30 to 6:30 at night on YouTube, Eastern time. We're going to be here, and I'm going to pull it over for a half hour, an extended hour on Sportscaster, 6:30 to 7. Appreciate it, everybody. Glad to see you on Sportscaster. Paul, I'm happy that you know about Sportscaster. I love it. I think that it is something that is going to grow into something nice. They have the backing behind it. They have the technology behind it, and it makes a lot of sense. Sports are very popular. They're right up there with gaming, right? Twitch blew up from gaming. And I understand you could be a little bit more interactive. People like watching somebody play a game. I think people like watching people talk about sports as well, though. I mean, that's why ESPN and SportsCenter is a thing right now. So I think Sportscaster is incredible. Later, peace, paying. But gang, peace. No hood, just gang.